Today, we're going to be talking about Married at First Sight. It's going to be brought to you from an urban Native American perspective, a mixed perspective, and a secular perspective. So let's dive right on in. If you guys enjoy the video later on, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up for me and subscribe, because we like are dropping dimes and all kinds of tea and stuff like that all throughout the week. All right. So did you guys watch Married at First Sight last night? I have to say, it was so because I've just been holding on to this dream because they have been teasing us, or not consistently, but they gave us that teaser several episodes ago, and I don't know, I'm just waiting to see like all the shenanigans, right? So, because it wasn't the episode that I was hoping it was going to be, I was a little like, to me, it was more of a filler episode. That was just in my opinion. So we start off with Eris, and he is over there. Oh, good afternoon, Susan. How are you? Thank you for joining. Good to see you, girl. So, Eris has COVID, right? And it's like, I wasn't upset about that, but he that's mean. Anyway, he had COVID, and he had to fend for himself, right? And he was like so convinced, because remember he was telling us like, I know if I get sick, she's gonna be there for me, and she's just gonna, she'll take care of me, she'll have my back and everything like that. And then he goes, and then he's like, I'm not feeling so good and everything like that. So now we go over to Clint, and Clint, he's talking to his mom on the phone, or over video, I should say, about his status with Gina, where they're at, and he's kind of trying to get his mom's perspective about working and how she manages it, because apparently she has her own business. And later on, we found out in the episode that she was a sailing instructor. I mean, when he says he comes from 8 generations of sailors, I mean, he wasn't lying. Even the women were sailing, which I thought was kind of impressive. I thought that was kind of a cool thing to learn about him, because I just thought it was all the guys. I liked his mom, and she was explaining to him that yes, during the first year, it was all about the business, but later on, she had to learn how to make time for her personal life. So, he's just trying to get an idea of that, because he feels like him and Gina they're getting along now, but the problem is that she is just so completely just like knee deep in her work all the time. So anyway, we get over to Chris and Nicole, and they're getting massage couple, or couples massage, I should say. And I have to say this about Nicole. Every time we see her without any makeup on, I mean, Nicole really looks very nice with no makeup. I mean, it's funny because whenever her and Chris do that picture together, like, they always start a new scene with her and Chris, and they're like embracing each other, and she kind of looks like that in her pictures, right? Looks funny, but maybe it's just I don't know, but she looks really beautiful. She has good skin and everything. She's fortunate to have good skin. She looks very nice without her makeup. And they're massaging her and stuff like that. And I was taking a look at her arms and stuff like that, because we're going to talk about that a little bit later, because they're massaging all around here, and I was like, does Nicole work out? Like what? Okay, I think she works out. I think I was maybe, yeah, I think she maybe works out or something. So anyway, then where do we go to? Oh yeah, oh yeah. So she was saying that during the massage, that with Chris, she's very affectionate. But traditionally, in her past relationships, she was not a very affectionate person. She didn't like to be touched that much. And doesn't that seem a little bit shocking, the way she's so like she's clingy with him, right? And it's like, wow, I mean, I guess she just really, really digs Chris. So then we have Kirsten. So Kirsten, she's over here with her friend lying, right, about her alleged bliss. She's in such bliss, right? I wasn't buying it. And I'm like, how come every time she gets around people, she always makes it seem like she is just, oh, she's just so in love, and it's so romantic, and everything is going so great. And, it just I don't buy it. And the only thing that she seems to be enjoying is living in a place that's fully furnished. I mean, because we saw her place, right? And I'm not going to mention. Okay, so let me tell you guys something. This is a little side note over here. So, I noticed that on some of my videos some ads are popping up. And this is a boutique channel, very, very small, right? And I have a very small core group of really wonderful people who subscribe and watch me all the time. People like Susan, and that, the other day we had like Burgundy Blue and some other people, and it was really awesome, right? So it's like a smaller group, right? And which is really good. And but channels like that typically don't have commercials. And when someone becomes a little bit bigger, then that's when, or they have a larger following, I should say, that's when you tend to see more commercials on their channel. And one thing I like about smaller channels is that I don't have to watch it's ad free, right? It's kind of cool. So if you guys do see ads, it's because it's just something that YouTube does, and I have no control over that. And that's just what it is. So I noticed on the ads, because I kept talking all that crap about, well, I'm not going to say the name of the company that, that starts with air and ends with, some letters where people stay at, because they started playing ads on my little small little channel here. And I was like, how is that happening? Like that was, and then I was talking about, because there's another competitive company that starts with V and ends with O, right? And it's all letters. And they were showing ads. I said, so it seems like if I'm mentioning these brands, that they're showing commercials on my thing. Anyway, that's just something I wanted to share with you guys, because I thought that's kind of weird. If you're watching live, you don't see it, but if it's or if it's after I've recorded it, you may wind up with ads based off of companies that I've mentioned. So I'm not going to be mentioning too many companies, because I don't want people making money off of me. Okay. So anyway, going forward. So yes, so that was Kirsten. And and she's saying also too that everything is really good, but she feels like he's not giving her enough attention because he is very busy. And he did say that he is still finishing up his, was it his master's or his PhD? I think it's his master's, if I'm not mistaken. Plus, he still has to work. So, he's trying to balance that, but she still feels like it's not enough time. So then Eris, oh God, he literally, all right, the internet gods are playing with me this morning as usual. But anyway, so now we have Eris, and he has the absolute nerve, the audacity, the gumption, okay, the cojones to say that she's been taking care of him, but he would only rate her nursing skills 7 out of a 10. You see that? So she literally cannot do anything right. I think he's judging her beyond just like the physical, her smile. I think he's judging her skin. I think he's judging her feet. I think he's judging everything, right? And now he's judging that her nursing skills are not up to par. And the thing is remember how he wanted to be fed grapes, and he wants to be catered to, he wants to be treated like a king and all of this stuff, and how he said that when he would get sick, he knows that she would have him down, she'd have his back. But she still has a life, and she has her own thing. And I'm glad he rates her 7 out of 10, because that means that she's not giving it her 100% all. And I'm glad, because he doesn't deserve that. And I'm not saying because he's not attracted to him that he's not attracted to her, that makes him a bad guy, but his attitude is in the toilet. I just can't stand Eris. So Clint, now he goes and he stops by Gina's salon, and he has some funny little banter back and forth with her employees and stuff like that. And he gets to kind of see, like, where her passions and things lie. That was fine. He's a good sport in that particular way. Would you say, Susan? I would have walked out the door. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he just judges her for every single little thing. She's got a hair out of place. And even though he's not verbalizing that, I know that's what it is. I know that's what it is. I mean, it's just my own little theory. And yeah, so now Nicole and Chris. Okay, so they sit down at this little kind of old-timey, maybe like a faux Victorian alcoholic drink kind of little thing. And it was cute. I actually liked that. I was like, I would go to something like that totally, right? And she wants to talk about the status of where they are in their relationship. So bottom line, and Chris said it himself too, she basically wants me to come out and tell her I love her. And we know that he doesn't love her. I mean, he's just not there. And the fact that he was so unsure, he has to play so Mr. Careful, careful that we're actually going to renew our leases after we've been married, after he knew that he was going into an experiment. That to me right there just said it all. I mean, I was like, okay, so I think either he's overwhelmed by her or something's not quite clicking with Chris. The Mr. Nice Guy routine, I don't know if it's all what it's cracked up to be. I think there's a little bit more to him. So anyway, and she's saying like, yeah, I'm not saying that I want you to, say you love me now, but I just want to get an idea where you're at, so you don't think, and I want you to know where I'm at, so you don't think that I'm not there, just in case you're there. And I'm like, Nicole, girl, you gotta like really leave it alone. I mean, it hasn't even been a month. Like, I know your feelings are really growing for him, and I don't want to say that Chris is the wrong guy for her. I really do hope that they'll work out, but I'm starting to detect, a little bit, because I mean, I can't blame her for giving her all, because that's what you're supposed to do with this experiment, right? She really is putting herself out on the line. She's being very vulnerable, but she needs to slow it down a little bit, because, you can easily scare a guy away. And even though this is an experiment, there is still that concept of some men, a lot of men like the chase, right? They like that pursuit. And in this particular process, there really kind of is no pursuit, but because boom, you're presented with a spouse, right? But during that kind of like post-marital courtship, which is sort of backwards, there is a little bit of a pursuit, right? Because you still want to, get to know the person and make sure that they're into you and stuff like that. But I think she's put too much of it, so much out there, and given so much of herself, that he's just like, you know what, I got this. I can do whatever. She'll do whatever. And this is what I'm seeing him doing, is taking advantage of her and her kindness. But she needs to take it down. Come on, relax, Nicole. He's not, he ain't Jason Momoa, honey. So anyway, let's keep moving on. So now we are with Clint and Gina again. So he starts talking about his past relationship and how he actually had gotten one of his ex-girlfriends pregnant. They were together for, a few years, I think he said, and then they wound up having a miscarriage. And how he felt about that. And they showed like a little clip of that before, like I think maybe last week or a couple of weeks ago. So we knew something was coming up, but the production, they tried to play with this and make it seem like it was going to be this really big thing. And she was like, oh, okay, yeah. Thanks for sharing that with me. She could listen. She could care less. All right. She already knows. She's like, look, I got my salon. I don't need to be incurring any walked out of the marriage early fees. Okay. I got to worry about this salon getting off the ground. I can't mess with my credit score. I'm going to just ride this out just like that sailboat, honey. And she was like, oh, yeah, that's nice. What'd you say? She said, well, these guys are all want Barbie dolls over yeah, critical over the girls' shapes and sizes. That's true. And these women, this season, I mean, they really are like very average, average women. These girls are thick, right? And with the exception of Jasmine, Jasmine would be kind of like your Barbie doll type physique, but most of these women are pretty, they're pretty average women. I mean, average American women, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that it just goes to show again how like just superficial someone like Eris is, and even more so than Clint, because I think Clint has a superficiality as well, but I feel like Clint at least is in it for the process, right? Not seeing all the plastic. Gina has a couple of enhancements, but yeah, I mean, there are. This is not the the Brazilian butt lift and the boob job and all of that. I mean, and hey, whatever makes you happy or whatever, but this is not that crew. And I feel like this particular season, this is the season that women are really getting a lot of crap for their bodies, right? Because we didn't have all this body stuff going on in the other in the previous seasons. But again, in the previous seasons, they were choosing like the smaller people. Remember, like Clara and Ryan. Remember Clara? Oh, she was pretty and she was skinny, blonde girl. Remember, Virginia, the one was drinking all the time. She was thin. Like a lot of these girls were small. If I think about it, most of them were small. I don't remember anybody having any previous seasons where so many women were shapely as they are this season. So speaking of shapely, now we're going to Kirsten and Shat. So, they're talking about what they need to fall in love. And, it seemed to be in this particular scene, not the housewives, right? Not Bravo. That's right, Susan. This is a different network, girl. So, I'm looking at Kirsten as she's talking, and I feel like in this particular scene, for a second, I was like, is she starting to like him? And wait a minute, is there some kind of spark that I'm unaware of? Because every episode I've seen her in so far, I thought she was lying through her teeth every time she's telling somebody how wonderful and how great and fantastic the honeymoon and all this stuff. That's what I was thinking, right? But in this scene, I started to think, hmm, is he growing on her? Is that his bald head? Is that like, maybe? I don't know. Stranger things have happened. So then we go over back to Jasmine and Eris. So now he has his negative status, and he decides to wash her dog to pay her back for her kindness. And I'm like, okay, this buddy quid pro quo kind of stuff is not necessary. That's it's just another confirmation that he's not into her, because you know what, and when you really love somebody, like, you don't have to pay them back, tat for tat kind of thing. It's just like, there'll be a time that'll come up where she'll need your support and you'll lend it, and you'll remember that time when she took care of you and stuff like that, but not like, okay, let me do this because you do this for me. That's a buddy. That's what you do with your buddies, to me anyway. But you know what? I mean, what can I say? It's not like he hasn't told her he loved her or anything. He tells her every 5 minutes how he's not attracted to her. That's enough. But anyway, so she takes that as, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. And I'm like, Jasmine, girl, you gotta pick up your self-esteem, girl. I know you're in it in this process. You're all in, but like, I don't know. I mean, do you guys think like, okay, so you see like a Nicole and Chris, where Nicole is giving her 100%. Jasmine, she's starting to withdraw a little bit, right? Because we've noticed she is not happy with the fact that he's not attracted to her, and perfectly justified in that. But do you think when it's to that level, with somebody like Eric, just his history, his personality, his presence, that she should walk out? I don't know. I mean, I said like Dom and Mac ended it too soon. And I don't know. I just kind of feel like Jasmine and Eris's situation. I don't know. I guess, I mean, you're there to show up and to give it a shot, but I don't know. The way he like made that comment about her taking care of him, and he's so ungrateful. He can't see anything of value to him. Like, he'll say she has good qualities and stuff, but he's saying good qualities for another person, right? Oh, basically, I mean, it's almost like he's saying, yeah, I mean, when he was telling his cousin, I know she'd have my back, and she's good, this and that and stuff like that. She's not a work mule. She's a human being, and she's a woman, and she's soft and pink and tender, and wants to be loved, and to be admired, and things like that. And we need a redo for Jasmine. We really do. I mean, they should just make a little, just go off script, just this one season, and take him off the show and give her somebody else. Like, just have them annul it real quick and bring in somebody who's really her type, and somebody that, like, would definitely be into her. But how would you know, though? Because then it wouldn't be a blind marriage. I don't know. I just don't know what should happen in this situation, because I just feel like, this is almost It's not quite at Kristen Page level, okay, but not, yeah, she can do better. She definitely can do better. This woman, I mean, I can go down the list. If you guys have not heard, my previous episodes, I can go down her resume of everything that she is she's so worthy. You know what I mean? And he's just all focused on, you know, he's focused on physical stuff. And I know you have to have a physical attraction, but he's just somebody like him. You're not, nobody's going to be 100%, at that altar, just like totally, totally what you want from head to toe, and personality and career and, da da da, height, weight, da da da. Nobody's going to have every single thing that you want. But when you sign up for this experiment, it's supposed to be, someone who's open. Like, look at Chris and Nicole. Now, Chris, I mean, Chris is not a bad looking guy, but Chris ain't all that, okay? And Nicole is head over heels for him because she's opened herself up, right? And, the fact of the matter is, some people just are not cut. Most people, I think, especially in today's age of, instant gratification and so many different enhancements that, a lot of us do, right? Even if it's a small enhancement like makeup or something, to more invasive enhancements like what Susan was talking about, the plastic surgeries and stuff like that. Whatever it is, we live in this society now where, we can find what we want, physically, and, it creates unrealistic standards in our minds and stuff like that. But, she can just do so much better. I mean, I just, God, I mean, I mean, look at Chris and Nicole. Nicole is just like, dove into the deep end in the Olympic-sized swimming pool for this guy. And he is not no Jason Momoa, honey. Okay, let me get off Jason Momoa. So anyway, all right. So, okay, so Nicole and Chris, speaking of them, all right, now it's time to have the conversation that we saw last week in the preview. Okay. So he starts talking about his physique and how he feels a little bit insecure about his physique. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I mean, was he a big boy before? I mean, because Chris doesn't give me chubby. He doesn't give me formerly, big boy either, but maybe he was in high school or something. I don't know. If you lose the weight sometimes quick enough, or when you're young enough, sometimes, the skin goes back, and, who would even know that you ever used to struggle with your weight? So, I'm thinking, well, if he struggled with his weight or whatever, his physique, it looks like she works out or something. She could help him with that, like, kind of get him, to exercise or something. Chris is only like maybe 10 pounds away from being, closer to what he would want to be. He's not a fat guy, right? So, I mean, but he's, expressing himself and stuff like that. And I think that could easily be taken care of, with, just like a little, very little. Because he's not big to begin with. So, and she's kind of surprised by that, right? Because she's probably thinking, "Oh, well, he's not a big guy. Who knew that he had these feelings about his, he had he harbored these insecurities about himself." So then she goes, "Well, yeah, I kind of know what that means too, because, oh, no, sorry, before I get to that, he talks about his insecurities, and then he says that, actually, I just wanted to let you know, in case it comes out later on, because he was on camera talking about, usually what I go for is a thicker woman, or is a woman that's not as thick. And I thought to myself, oh my God. And I was sitting there with my husband, and we were both sitting there like, and he's like, oh my God. My husband's shaking his head like, oh my God, why did you say that? And the thing is that it would be different if, not that what he said was a bad thing per se, but he wasn't asked that, right? So why would you even volunteer this information? This is the problem with this season. Everybody is talking too much about what people's body shapes and stuff look like and all of that stuff, what they usually date. I mean, you got to be careful with that. It's okay that he was used to dating slimmer women. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't need to verbalize that. You know what I mean? She can figure that out when she sees a picture of your ex, or if you guys are in Walmart somewhere and you run into an ex, she can kind of see, oh, that's what you used to date. But you don't need to say that. You know what I mean? That's like saying, well, I mean, you're great. I mean, not in a bad way, but like, I'm not really used to dating people with cellulite. Are you serious? Like, you know what I'm saying? And she's like trying to handle it well. And I give her credit in that moment because, you know, she says that, okay, I just want you to be careful about what you're saying and how you're saying it to me. It's I can call she, yeah, I call myself thick and that's how I describe myself, but that's not how I want you to be describing me. And really when you look at it, Nicole is a smaller statured woman, right? She's short. So, because I was looking at her during the massage and stuff like that, I think Nicole works out or something. She looks like maybe she lifts weights or something like that, right? She has more musculature up here. She's not a fat woman. When she puts on her little short shorts and stuff like that, Nicole looks good. She's just filled out. She doesn't have a hanging belly or anything. I mean, there's nothing like, even if she did, so what? But that's not the case. But then she starts revealing to us that she suffered from body dysmorphia. And I'm like, oh my God. See, that's why you can't be saying stuff like that because you never really know what a person went through when, they were younger. And like she went through a relationship that was abusive. The guy was putting cigarettes out on her, probably telling her she had a terrible body or something. Nicole looks absolutely fine in everything that she wears. And and the thing is that you could tell she's done the work because even though this is where she tends to show her weight up here, right? Well, I don't even know if it's weight. I think it's more muscle, right? She wears those tank tops every single episode. She shows her arms every single episode. So that means that she must have gotten to a place where she's like, you know what? I don't care what other people think. I'm comfortable in myself. Nicole is a healthy woman. A lot of women would like to have a body that's that's strong and you know what I mean. She doesn't have to wear no kind of girdles or anything like that. She looks perfectly fine. She's just not what he's used to dating. And that's just not necessary. They need to counsel these couples before they even go into the weddings about being careful about what you say about a person's body type because we're going into this blind. We're not going to get what we normally would choose for ourselves in the free chosen marriage market, right? But don't turn a person off. So now she's got this seed planted in her head. Probably every time he doesn't want to hold hands with her or, doesn't want to tell her he loves her or something like that. Now she's thinking, oh, he's not into me. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's really unfair because she's really given so much of herself to the process. Nicole looks perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. She looks cute in all her little dresses, her little romper jumper suits. She looks great. And you know what? And another thing is, and Nicole, she looks beautiful without her makeup on. Nicole has a gorgeous, thick, long head of hair, okay? And she knows how to work it. She knows how to work her look. So I just feel like, what, he really messed up with that. And if she would have got on camera and said, Chris is not usually what I would date, because, he's got a little tummy. I mean, he's only 5 or 10 pounds away, but that's not my usual. Then he'd be all sunken and drawn into himself, talking about, oh, she's rejecting me or something like that, right? So I'm not understanding why people feel the need to be so, what's the word? Forthcoming or something like that with their physical preferences. This is the one that you wound up with. You got about 8 weeks or whatever the time limit is to decide if you want to stay with them or not. You don't need to tell them that their belly button is too high or your bunions are too crooked or something like that. These are grown people. This is too much. They probably should have people more. I want to see Married at First Sight for people that are 40 and older. Now that would be good, right? Because a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more filtered conversation, we would hope anyway. So, I mean, she's acting like she's not completely offended, but that, she's just like, okay, I just don't really like this that much. But inside that is absolutely killing her. And I hope that's not going to reverse the work that she's done for herself. I just why did he even have that conversation? So Gina, she visits Clint out on his boat and she looks like she's just like, okay, all right, let's kill some time, get that sail going. All right, nice dock, good breeze. Okay, what's next? She could care less. So but she doesn't want to make it seem like, she's not trying, but we know she's not into him. So Shaquille and Kirsten. So he's a mentor, and he has, what I think that was like 3 or 4 mentees that came to his house, and they look like they're like late teens or something, and they sit down on the couch and they're talking. And it's funny because it makes him sound like he's like this really older guy and stuff, but they speak highly of Shaquille and stuff. And Kirsten's like trying to get, well, she wants to know, like, what their relationship is like and stuff like that. But I kind of feel as though she's performing. I do. And this whole time we had this nasty, nasty person making all these, listen, all these like comments about what's her name, Jasmine, and how she's so, calculated and stuff like that, and how she performs when she speaks. No, that's Kirsten. Kirsten is the one that really has, like, the not so honest answers to me. That's how she comes across. I'm not, I don't know what's in her heart, but she comes across like she's the one that's coming up with the pageant answers, not Jasmine. Because we've seen the realness of Jasmine in a few scenes. So then he starts talking about how he actually was offered a job during this process as they're married, didn't discuss it with her, turned it down, and that's that, because he is dedicated, he's committed to the process, and he also wants to show these young men, like, hey, listen, I signed up for something and I'm going to see my way through it. And while I found that was commendable, that he put her first, I still feel as though he should have told them, like, look, give me another month and I'll get back to you, because I don't know if this is going to work out. I mean, it's good, but the little devilish part of me is like, I don't know if that was the right move, but maybe something else will come along a little bit later. But listen, he has listened to her, and I think he knows that Kirsten, her entire her objective, in terms of marriage, is to be close to her family, so she can, kind of meld those two families to, her marriage and her family life in together. And so it seems like he's been listening, so he knows that about her. But I think the best thing that he should have done was at least still have had the conversation with her, even if the conversation would have went like, hey, listen, I got this job offer, and I just, I decided that I'm not going to take it, but, I just want to let you know. I think that would have been a little bit better. And, hey, let's see. Yeah, I think for him, he didn't want her to have the burden of, like, having to decide if he should take this job or not, and then, her feel like she's the blame later on if things don't work out. I think that's what he was doing, which was like that was a very, that was a conscientious thing for him to do. But I still think that the better thing would have been to kind of, not kind, but just to tell her, like, hey, listen, I got this job. I thought, you should know I'm not going to take it or anything like that. Just to kind of see, test out the water, see how she reacts. You know what I mean? And she's like, oh, yeah, go ahead. I mean, I'll stay here for like 9 months, and then you just go over there and go get settled, right? Then we'll break up. So, I thought that could have been like a little bit of a test, but if, it's just, to be honest, I think it just, honesty would have been better, and to be a little bit more open. But either way, she was happy with the result. She felt as though that he, was receptive to her wishes to stay close to the family and everything. But, it's just like, the reason that I feel like he should have went ahead and discussed it with her, because it's a big decision, number one, and secondly, he doesn't know where he stands with her, right? They haven't kissed, they haven't done anything, and to give up a huge opportunity when you're not quite sure where the marriage is going, I don't know if I would have gotten rid of that job opportunity so quick. But then again, it's not like they're going to necessarily leave the position open forever. But I still would have talked to them and said, is this, can we come back to the table in 6 months and see where I'm at? That's just me. That's just me, because I like money, honey. So anyway, All right. So Jasmine and Aris. All right. So they start talking about love because like they have like these little assignments with the cards and stuff. So they start talking about love and love languages and stuff like that. And when he pulls out the card, he's reading and looking at it, and he's like, "Well, what do you think about da 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 da?" I swear to God, this guy was so checked the fuck out. He looked like he'd rather be doing anything, like organizing his sock drawer, for example, just anything other than being in the room with her, because, her and her subpar nursing skills, apparently. And then he starts talking about, like, of course he gets to the fun stuff for him, like the freaky stuff, and then about his little entanglements with multiple partners at the same time. Thought that was funny, Susan. And he's just like, I've had a few, multiple partner organized little things. I don't know if YouTube will ding me for saying the ORGY word, but anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. And then and she's looking like, mm, I don't know about all that. What's going on with that? And then he's asking her, like, have you ever kissed a girl, or have you ever been with, all these different people at the same time and stuff like that? And she's like, you can tell she's clearly uncomfortable. And she reminds me of like when I lived in the South when I was a kid. I remember some people who were, especially people that were very religious, and she grew up, and she's a pastor's kid, for God's sake, right? And she comes off as like someone who's not very comfortable having those kind of conversations, or at least not with somebody who thinks that she looks like, something that needs to be picking up the garbage off of the corner or something like that, right? And she's like, well, yeah, that's not for me. And he's like judging her about her sexual history, or her lack of adventurous sexual whatever, rendezvous and stuff like that. And you know she's just looking at him like, I don't know if I want to continue with this conversation. She is a typical Southern preacher's daughter girl. She really, really is. I mean, man, she like, he makes her squirm at times, and I'm thinking, God, girl, why are you still even okay? But I'm not gonna criticize her for sticking in there and trying, because that's what she signed up to do. But I don't know. I think we need to give her a free pass and let her out of this marriage. So Shaquille and Kirsten. So he comes home, and Kirsten has a whole little bathrobe home spa set up, got his feet soaking in the little, foot massager and stuff, and, got the little blindfolds on, which was really not, I mean, I think that was a bit much. I think you wear that like when you're lying down. I don't know if I'd be wanting to wear that when I'm sitting up. But anyway, so, so, she says to us that she is ready to go to the next level. Okay, is this thing on? Hello, hello, testing 1, 2, 3. She says she's ready to go to the next level. I said, is this the same Kirsten? Are we talking about the same person? Okay, maybe I was seeing something a few scenes ago, because I thought I might have saw a little twinkle in her eye. So is this for real? Like, don't play with me, Kirsten. If you like this man, just, I hope you like him. But if you don't act like you don't like him. If don't act like if like you like him if you don't really like him. So then she seems like she's really just trying to get him relaxed and kind of set up to kind of get into maybe like possibly a little bit of an interlude when they're done, because they're all cleansed and stuff like that. But then again, I didn't see him take a shower when he came home, so I don't know if they were just cleaning the feet or whatever. But anyway, so now they got their little what do you call those thingies, the little eye mask on. And then he starts talking about his insecurity around his baldness. He went bald very young, and then he starts talking about all these different things, not being able to play sports and stuff, and how that really affected him. We've heard that like 6 times now. I mean, I think he needs to kind of calm down with that, because I think if we're talking about things that from our childhood that affected us, significantly, I think a few times is okay to mention it, but don't be mentioning it like every other episode, because then it's going to look like you just got way too many issues, and, you're not going to be able to get past them, and maybe you should have done some counseling, before you got started. But anyway, so, as they speak more, so, okay, he's revealing something about himself. So now it's her turn, right? Because it is a conversation after all. And she's sitting there and she's like given nothing, absolutely nothing. And we know that's Kirsten's pattern, right? And she says that she's not usually very able to open up. And in past relationships, she was like that as well. And that just kind of might be who she is. But you need to grow up. You're entering a marriage. The guy doesn't know you, right? So all you got is time. And they went to that little plant store earlier, which she didn't really seem to be too thrilled with that. But it's a part of kind of getting to know one another, and she's just not giving anything, and he wants more. He's not in his 20s. He wants to go deeper. He wants some in-depth something to fall in love with for himself, and she won't give it. I don't know if she's capable, or at least at this point, of giving that of herself. And I think what her plan was to just, because remember, there were glasses of wine there. Get relaxed, have some libation, kind of see where the mood takes us, and then maybe go in that way. I think her approach is more like, let's go ahead and just try the physical to see if we can kind of get there that way. That's what it looks like her approach is. Versus him, he needs more from her because she hasn't shown him anything all this time. So he has no idea that she's feeling that way. So, I felt like, he could have he could, and so it depends on the person's personality. He could have just, kind of taken it like, oh, okay, well, she's kind of setting this up. Maybe she's trying to let me know something here, right? But because she hasn't given him anything before, he doesn't know enough about her to know that she may be trying to set him up for a romantic time. He has to guess. He might just be thinking she just wants to sit and talk and spend time together because he's been working and going to school, and maybe she just wants some quality time. How can he really know? So, you know, um, now she's like, okay, wait a minute. This is not the direction I wanted to head in. I wanted to head more physical, and he wants to talk, talk, talk. So, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like her lack of opening up and not being honest has led up to this. And I do have to blame her in this particular instance. You need to communicate. He's trying to be a gentleman, right? And even though her friends told him, sometimes you just got to kind of go in and kind of take control and stuff like that. That's kind of a hard message to give to someone, especially in trying to respect a woman's her personal space and stuff like that. It's hard to know, like, so that's where love languages and getting to know each other, that's where all that stuff comes in. That's why you need to have conversations. So because he doesn't want to feel like he's going to offend you and reach over and go for a kiss and then you smack him across the face or something, right? He needs to have some kind of sign that it's okay to go in for a kiss. If you've given him nothing, just rubbing his bald head, that's not enough, right? So, I don't know. I don't know. I was thinking maybe this was about to go somewhere, maybe. But then I saw those previews for next week, and I was like, oh no, this is not. I don't think they quite took it there yet. So, honey, next week when we see McKinley, who's back on the show, talking about he slid into Gina's DMs. Oh, okay. See, I was waiting for that kiss episode between Clint and Dominique, but now I want to see about Mac and Gina, because remember he was saying that Gina was very pretty. Like he thought, Clint was crazy because Gina's, so good looking and all this stuff. So, oh my God, maybe we'll get both. Maybe we'll get the Dom Clint kiss and the, DM sliding all next week. Fingers crossed. That's just what I'm waiting for. This particular episode was like, I didn't really get much out of this. I don't know if you guys did. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's little chit chat. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate all you guys that are here and all you guys that'll be joining in a little bit later. So that's it. I hope you're having a good day. It's a wonderful day. Get outside, get some fresh air if you can. Take care, stay safe, and chipisalacho. Oh, and don't forget, I'll be back on Saturday. Love after lockup. Okay. Chipisalacho. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Susan. See you soon. Bye-bye.